o'clock, so we're going to start. Welcome everybody to Stage and Stanza with myself, Carol Durant, our illustrious, fantastical Russell Sage College colleagues, which are Amy Griffin, Judy Gilmore, and the fantastical David Baker.
Hello.
There's David. Judy, where are you? You're back there somewhere.
Hi, everyone.
There she is. Fabulous picture. And Amy, hopefully you're back from, walking the
I'm
dog
here.
in the
Hello.
snow. Here you are. Another fabulous picture. Thanks so much to them because they're always on top of it with the Zoom, making sure that you all can get in and join us in our fun here at Stage and Stanza. Tonight, we have our honorees, Professor Angie Smith of Russell Sage and London, and the local talented Haitian fantastic man, Jean-Remy Monnay. So we will begin. David Baker, take it away.
Okay, well, great. Thank you, Carol. Again, we got to thank Carol because this was Carol's idea, and I think this is our fifth one, and I'm excited that I'm excited we've made it this far. I'm excited by the people we have tonight, and one of the really fun things that Carol has brought to this is the idea of talking to our honorees for the evening and asking what their favorite poetry is. So we're going to start tonight with their favorite poetry. Towards that, we have Sheila London, we have Carmen Lookshire here on tonight. Sheila, which poem are you reading this evening?
This evening, I will be reading a poem entitled Let America Be America by Langston Hughes.
Okay, and was this Remy or Angie's poem?
This is Remy's poem.
Wonderful. Okay. Sheila, take it away.
Okay. Let America be America. Let America be America again. Like, let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America was never America to me. Let America be the dreamer's dream. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme. That any man be crushed by one above. It was never America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowded with no forced patriotic wealth, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air, we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of problems.
I can't hear it anymore.
The host shooting me, I got it, okay. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit and power and gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold or grab the ways of satisfying need, of the work, the men, of take the pay, of owning everything from one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker, sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today despite the dream, beaten yet today. Oh, pioneers, I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker battered through the years. Yet, I am the one who dreams our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings. In every brick and stone, in every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I am the man who sailed these early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I am the one who left dark Ireland's shore, and Poland's plain, and England's grassy lea, and torn from Black Africa's strand. I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shut down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed, and all the songs we've sung, and all the hopes we've held, and all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except a dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be. The land where every man is free. The land that's mine. The poor man's, the Indians, the Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the founding, who's plowed in the rain. You must bring back our mighty dreams again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. For those who live like leeches on people's lives, we must take back our land again. America. Oh, yes, I say it plain. America was never America to me. And yet, I swear this oath, America will be, out of the rack of ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and the stealth and the lies, we, the people, must redeem. The land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains and the endless plain, all that stretch of these great, great green states. And make America again.
Thank you, Sheila. Very powerful. And thank you, Remy, for bringing it to us tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Carmen.
Hello. I'll be reading Her Kind by Anne Sexton. I have gone out, a possessed witch, haunting the black air, braver at night, dreaming evil. I have done my hitch, over the plain houses, light by light. Lonely thing, 12-fingered out of mind. A woman like that is not a woman quite. I have been her kind. I have found the warm caves in the woods, filled them with skillets, carvings, shelves, closets, silks, innumerable goods. fix the suppers for the worms and the elves, whining, rearranging the disaligned. A woman like that is misunderstood. I have been her kind. I have ridden in your cart, driver, waved my nude arms at villages going by, learning the last bright roots, survivor, where your flames still bite my thigh, and my ribs crack where your wheels wind. A woman like that is not ashamed to die. I have been her kind.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. And thank you, Angie Smith, for giving us that poem this evening. We're going to start by talking to you tonight. I have your bio here. We're going to start so everybody gets to know a little bit about you, and then I may have you introduce your students, and we'll hear the poems that they're working on right now. Good. So Angie Smith graduated from Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, with a degree in creative writing and English literature. She brought all these together in her work as editor-in-chief at the university creative magazine, The Expressionist. And during her tenure, she also found an insatiable desire to travel. This is going to come into our discussion this evening. And did a year abroad in London. And after 2004, completing her degree, she moved to Great Britain. And for 15 years, thrived in London, becoming a dual citizen of America and the UK. She completed a master's degree in Victorian literature at the University of London. And during her studies, she worked for an independent children's book company as an administrative assistant, but went on to lead marketing department there and worked for other publishing companies. While working with writers and illustrators alongside young people at book events, she decided to leave publishing and retrain to become a secondary school teacher in English media and drama, and earn her teaching credential from the Institute of Education, University of College London in 2012. So as a teacher, Angie has worked with students ages 16 to 19, delivering creative writing and English and linguistic and literature curriculums. She's also helped to secure her students highly competitive positions to study at Oxbridge and other Russell Group universities. She's developed a magazine, which we're going to talk about here in a moment. And in her spare time, she tutors individual students, including those from Russia, China, America, and England. And she's also been commissioned to run summer drama and media studies at Oxford University. She's delivered lectures about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein at the Royal Opera House in central London, and has visited Pepperdine and Lipscomb University to study abroad programs as guest teachers. Now, Angie is working with Russell Sage College, teaching writing composition and managing the production of the university literary and arts magazines. And she's preparing for a PhD program in education, which she hopes to begin in January 2020 back in London. So welcome, Angie.
Thank
We're glad
you.
to have you here tonight. We're glad to have your students, and we're going to start with your students because we're up very late right now. And you can explain who they are and how they wrote these pieces, and then we'll get to talk to you a little bit more.
Okay, so we'll start with the London students, and then we'll move over to our Rev editor, who has joined us as well. So I'll introduce them each individually. We've got Edith. If you raise your hand, Edith. Edith is a student of mine from, she was a student of mine first before she joined Haringey Unchained, and then became a part of the original magazine with me. Amina. I never taught Amina, but Amina and I worked through the magazine at Haringey. She is now a student. So Edith is a student at Durham University, and Amina is a student at Goldsmiths, University of London. Edith, what year are you? Is it your second year? Okay, and Amina, you're in your final year, correct? Second year, okay. Amir is a student at Haringey Sixth Form College, where Haringey Unchained originated. I have never taught Amir, but he has joined us with the magazine this year. And was there any others from London here? No, Andrea's not come. And then Cassie, who is a senior at Sage, who is a Rev editor. I was trying to figure out a way of trying to get her to fail her senior year so that she could stay with me next year, but no one would let me do it. So those are our team today, and I'll share my screen so they can read from there. Is that okay?
That'll be great.
Who would like to start?
I've got a pretty short piece, so I can go.
Okay, Amir's got a new one for us, so go on.
It's really short. You build me up to break me down. We break up to make up. A fake love, a convenient armistice, is the bed on which we now lay. The 2 hours traffic of our stage, the physical depiction of a mental cage.
Nice. Very good rhythm, nice cadence. Thank you, Amir. I would like that, please, for next year's magazine. Sorry, Edith, I'm a bit of a leech. Okay, Edith, would you like to read yours next? Okay.
Oh, I see it.
Yes, of course. I'm just moving to the slide. Okay. I need the host to enable me to share my screen.
I am trying to do that and it's not letting me.
It worked.
There we go.
It worked. Okay, let me just get this full screen for you.
There's colors of you. In space, everything is blue. I know that because blue is the color I see when I dream of you. I think in black, layered shades, because black is all I see now when I cry for you. I wear red, a sharp, bright sunset red, like the residue from the shrinking sun enveloping the defiant rising moon. It leaves a brilliant outline in the night sky, briefly. Inside me, all I feel is black and blue. But the red reminds me what it felt like to burn for you.
Just beautiful, Edith.
Wonderful.
I am going to move, here we go. So this is Amina's piece.
What I miss. Now I'm reminded of what I miss. The way we immerse ourselves in our conversation. Taking in the aroma of burnt coffee and lighting up the room together, we create an environment more inviting for another to enter. And once they do, they are then left with time to glance around the room and to look at the sea of faces. Each face creating an environment more inviting for another to enter. So now I'm reminded of what I miss.
I miss that too. Gosh, it's something as straightforward as being in a coffee shop and watching everybody interact closely together. Beautiful, Amina. So those are our over in the UK readers, but we've also got Cassie's piece here. Cassie, are you ready? Okay. Okay.
World of music. On days like these, I see with ease a world of music, F's and G's and A's and buzzing B's, and not quite C's, but a river. Days crescendo, night descends, a minor occurrence, a major event. Flat ground, sharp thorns, an orchestra of cars and horns. Outside my piano, a world of song, can't help but watch and be singing along.
That's just so beautiful. I mean, by the end of the poem, I'm moving a little bit to whatever rhythm, the narrator is hearing outside their window. It's a nice wide range of pieces, David, from things that are very emotional and driven by individual experience and loss, all the way through to the experience of dealing with a pandemic and individualized beauty in the sounds of the world outside of our window. I think it's an excellent synthesis of the work we have been publishing within the magazine itself.
And
I will.
while you're sharing the screen, are there other images we can see?
There are. So let me start. The first one on the slide, I believe. Oh no, I didn't do it. Oh, I thought I had the cover image here, but I guess I don't. Okay.
Do you want me to get it up? Or send it?
Sure.
Because I think I have it in there.
So this is one half of a spread from one of our editors. It's a short piece of flash horror fiction that was inspired by a workshop we did earlier in the year. You'll find within the magazine some current pieces, some older pieces, some stuff that was produced this year, and stuff that was produced behind the scenes.
And
I know where it is. It's right here.
Well,
say that again.
And the students are creating the images as well?
Yes, so we've been receiving, so the students in the editorial team have mainly been writers with some illustrations and drawings. So Cassie submitted a drawing as well, or sorry, kind of a digital painting, I believe. Cassie, what was the medium? Was that right? Okay. But we have been receiving artworks from our respective communities. So we had Durham University, a lot of artwork came in from them. We had a wide range of Russell Sage current students and alumni, in fact, and staff members. So some of the work in here is produced by staff. The cover image you see here is a piece from a Durham University student. It wraps around the whole cover. But here's some spreads, and I think that these kind of highlight, again, the key themes that the students are dealing with. So we've got this really beautiful image of, we've got a young person that has been illustrating, Chloe De Silva, for us from Haringey in London for the last 7 years. She's in every magazine, and her artwork is very much driven by a kind of Victorian aesthetic, a line drawing. But lately she has been working in the medium of color in an attempt to maintain positivity in the pandemic. And this piece, I think, it was her homage to the NHS in Britain, a thanks to the nurses and doctors at the front line quite early on.
Wonderful.
So we've got a lot of work in here related to COVID. And, you know, also very timely in terms of the verdicts yesterday in the Derek Chauvin case. We've got a piece here by Jody Lynn, a student from Sage, called Freedom Flies, which we felt was a very ironic piece with a tattered American flag. And the piece next to it is by one of our Creativity Unleashed editors, Joseph Unadike, who is a Nigerian-born Brit. And he was watching the George Floyd situation from afar. And this has been turned into a very beautifully recorded spoken word piece that will be unveiled at our launch next week. We'll be celebrating the whole magazine with pre-recorded and very professionally put together recordings and videos of the work. So we thought these two pieces, and one thing that's quite interesting about working with the American students alongside the British students was a combination of looking at the same situations, but from different sides of the ocean. Mm-hmm. And I think this one really gives that across. And David, just stop me. There's about 10 slides, so you can kind of push me on when you're...
Go ahead.
Okay, so these two pieces, so the piece on the right is a piece by one of our Creativity Unleashed editors who helped manage the production of the magazine as well, alongside a piece of artwork by a dancer who from Haringey Sixth Form College in London, who is now an alumni member, who did this piece in an attempt to understand her self-esteem. This is very much her body. And that alongside Heather's kind of poem about hearing people say positive things, but having an internal voice that says the opposite and trying to fight and push against that. Again, very poignant in the world of this age group, particularly females in London. This comes across quite a lot. This is a Sage piece, and this is just fascinating to us. Playtime in Hispa, Myanmar. Mm-hmm. And the child is holding what appears to be a very real gun very casually. And the kind of, I think the students were very much struck with the combination of the kind of silly hat alongside a very adult toy. Yeah. would any of the students like to say anything alongside what I'm saying? Okay.
I mean, I don't mind. I think this was one of the pieces that actually got to us in a way, and it was very emotional seeing how, as Angie just pointed out, it's a very bit of ironical kind of image because they're all so young, and you see them wearing, using or playing with this, what might look like a real gun to us, and yeah, it's that's the reality we kind of live in now.
Absolutely. So, Edith, do you want to introduce this artist?
Yes, she's a very lovely friend of mine. She also goes to Durham, and her art has been very not impressive. It's over the world. Like, we've been really struggling to actually, you know, just have one piece from her because her art was so good. She's been, I don't know, she actually hasn't told me about her actual inspiration about this piece, but most of it are people that she met, or people she's seen around, and yeah, and it went very nicely next to the poems, which is very good. What we found it very helpful for our magazine as well was like mostly all the artwork worked with the writing, so that was very interesting how they all fit together very nicely.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is a combo of two Haringey sixth form college pieces, but again, falling on in line with this idea of identity from skin and race, and a kind of inner anger from the voice of somebody who is ensconced in that skin. Oh, and that's all I brought. There's about 100 pages in this magazine, you guys. So when it does come out and there are physical copies available at the library on Sage campus, I highly recommend that you come and get yourself a copy. What is it, Emma Donahue Poetry Fund, or is it Carol Donahue? Harold Donahue, I apologize. The endowment has funded the entire year's worth of writing professionals, visitors, editorial, magazine printing. So come and share in the success of that. So exciting. Should I stop sharing?
That'll be fine. That'll be fine. So yeah, people can get it at the library on the Sage campus in Troy. Is it available online?
It will be. So part of our launch next week is to launch our new website, Creativity Unleashed. So Creativity Unleashed is like the not-for-profit organization where all of the older Haringey Unchained students have come to deliver the project to new students and gain valid and valuable work experience through that. And so that will have our magazine on it. We'll put it on all the social media channels, and Russell Sage said that they'd be promoting it as well through their streams.
That's great. I'm very interested in your career path, having been in publishing and going into this work where you're teaching writing and working with students and artists, and you're still publishing. What was the moment that made you feel like you wanted to go into teaching?
So it was actually one very tragically stressful moment for me. I was working for Francis Lincoln Limited, which was a small independent children's book and gardening publishing company, which was a bit of a labor of love. And I worked for a man called John Nichol, who was married to Francis. Francis unfortunately passed away, and he took on her organization. And one day I'm sat at my desk, a new marketing officer, you know, having a really great time spending money on author events. And suddenly I hear boom, 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 walking down the corridor, and everyone stops breathing as John Nichol comes to Angie's desk. And he puts his hand on the desk and asks me, "Where is the sales revenue on the back of your marketing campaign?" And I just froze and thought, what does that mean? I didn't want to talk about sales figures. I wanted to talk about the exciting literature and work that was being produced and delivered to young people in a museum in central London. It was great. It was enriching. I didn't care about the money. And that's when I realized I really didn't need to be in book publishing. I needed to be in book teaching. And so my boyfriend at the time, I quit my job and we did it, and I got a teaching credential and started over.
That's great. You're still working with writers, and you're still writing. How do you see yourself at this point in your career? Do you see yourself as a writer, as a teacher of writers, a publisher, or all of the above?
Gosh. Oh, I think a little bit of all of the above. I find it difficult to really genuinely call myself a teacher because of how I feel about teachers from my experience as a student, and trying continually to emulate the mentorship that I had from those people when I was a young person. So I'm continually striving to be able to push myself and call myself an educator and a teacher. But I'd like to think of myself as a writer still. A poet is my medium. I still think in poetry. I don't know that I would consider myself a publisher. It's so funny. I consider myself as having left publishing. And this magazine is kind of like an easy way to get a tiny little fix of the one bit of publishing that I did miss, which was producing the physicality of that artistic product.
It's a beautiful published piece. So when you write poetry, what did you just say about poetry? Well, I'm interested. Do you write poetry, or does it write for you? You said you think in poetry.
So it actually depends on the piece, to be honest. There was a period of time where I was probably journaling every single day, a couple of times a day, and taking that content and almost forcing it into poetic forms, and getting pieces that, to people close to me in my life, they found it really good and interesting and enjoyed reading it. But to me, it was just a duplication of my diary. And so I stopped trying to reshape and trying to be intentional, and tried to allow the poetry to find me. And so some of my best pieces really have been the pieces that have just come within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, boom, on the page. I'm not laboring over it. I'm not thinking about it. It's just out. And it usually does result from situations of extreme feeling, whether that is extreme sadness or insatiable excitement. I tend to get so pushed by happiness that I can cry. So if I'm standing watching a parade, I will cry. And it's not because, so my sense being that these heavy, heavy emotions will push me towards that poetry on either side of the spectrum. Some people need the sadness to write. I have it both.
And whether you see yourself as an educator or not, it appears there are days where you're teaching students in Troy, teaching students in China, teaching students in the UK all in one day. What is it like to have, what is it like to be teaching in 3 different places like that at once?
It's so exciting. And I've got to say it's the best teaching that I have ever done, both for my own pedagogy and just the excitement of it. I used to work in a traditional classroom in Haringey Sixth Form College in London, and for a while that enabled me to learn the best way of being a teacher. But being restricted by one curriculum and government requirements, and not having the autonomy with which to really build your relationships with young people and to push critical thought with them, I decided to do something completely different. So I left and I came back here, and suddenly these things just kind of happened. So I can go one day where I'll have a Russell Sage College class at 8 in the morning. Then I'll have another at 1 in the afternoon. Then I'll have a writing workshop at 4 o'clock with London, which is 9 o'clock for them. And then I'll have another appointment or a class at 6:30 at night, which is 6:30 in the morning for Chinese students. And it's enriching. It enables more. I'm also humbled by the differences between the students in different cultures, and how, regardless of where they're coming from and how they are approaching me, there is a level of respect that they are demonstrating to me in different ways. So a Chinese classroom is very quiet. They do their work totally on time. It's all based on the strict, rigid structures they need. They produce it like that, and they're very respectful. Then you get into a London workshop, and suddenly you are being bombarded by spontaneous thought and debate and discussion, and sometimes, Amir, confronted by it. Bless him. People that really push me as a teacher. So I'm going from different situations in one day. I am not stagnating as a teacher. I'm not losing my interest in teaching. I'm continually being pushed by it, and I love it.
Great. And I know London is a place that holds a place in your heart. What do you miss about London when you're in Albany, when you're in the capital region, and vice versa? What do you miss about the capital region when you're in London?
So when I'm here, what I miss most about London is the sense of being a Londoner. So I was around the city during some very pivotal historical modern moments, including the July 7th bombings in 2005. So 2007, was it? Does anyone remember? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
5, because I was there the week after they happened, and I brought
Yeah.
students to London. It was a scary time.
Yeah. And from that moment onwards, I felt what it felt like to no longer be an American. I had just moved from America, from California to London, although I was originally from Arizona, but I would consider myself at some stage a Californian. But all of the elements that defined me outwardly were completely gone. I was suddenly a part of the Londoners community, and it felt like such a privilege. So you can walk around the city at any time and you feel like you are very much in control of this city at any stage. There's culture everywhere you go. There's something around every corner. And it always felt like a treat to be there, to be able to be there. I miss the access and I miss the sound. Even the sounds of silly things like the double-decker buses or the cabs, or people shouting at each other in the street in incredible accents, whatever accent you can hear, the synthesis of London and the cultural diversity. When I'm in London, what I miss about being here is the access to the natural geographical landscapes of the Northeast. When I first moved back from London, having lived there for 15 years solid, I come back here pre-pandemic, it was maybe 6 months before the pandemic. And I was doing a lot of traveling with my boyfriend to different states. You know, having been raised on the West Coast, you couldn't really, I mean, you could go from one end of California to the other in a day, but you couldn't hit 3 or 4 states like you can here. And suddenly I'm seeing this variety of woods and mountains and outdoors culture and environment and happy people. So I miss that. And I think my Londoners in the room can attest to this. Sometimes London gets a little bogged down by the experience of gritty London, and people are just on their way to work. And they're not taking a moment to kind of interact with each other or the natural landscape. Here is the exact opposite.
Right. Do we have any questions for Angie or her students that people would like to ask? You can put them in the chat, or you can speak up.
Amir loves London, really.
Because you're overselling it, right?
I'm also an Anglophile, so,
Right.
you know, take it with a pinch of salt, really.
Angie, I had a question. Where do you get your energy? Because I need some. Well, not really, but I'd like more.
Yeah, it's so funny. I've always had it, and it's always been something that has been, I used to be referred to as Sunny Angie, the cheery Californian. You know what? Honestly, I just think it's a combination of the childhood that I had, the family that I come from, the positivity that I've been raised by, and also a real love of dancing. I dance every single day. No caffeine in this lady. I dance every single day, and it keeps me feeling a little bit younger than I am.
And we're working on a really interesting project now with some of your students from China who've written 10-minute plays. Would you like to tell everyone about that?
Yes. So I was working with 4 students for 8 weeks to create 10-minute stage plays for a range of competitions in America. So these are young people from China who are enrolled in American private schools because of the pandemic, have been working remotely from home. The students at Russell Sage College in the theater department, I sent a query to David, and David was very keen and sent it to the students. And we've got a handful of students from Sage who read the work, chose their 2 favorites in order of preference, and unanimously chose one for first place, which I found really interesting, called The Chair, by a 17-year-old Chinese boy. And then the other play that won second place is by a 13-year-old student. So the span of ages that you get in these groups with the Chinese students are very wide. The students at Russell Sage are going to be doing a live reading with the students in China and their parents online next week. So it's an opportunity for my writers, you know, as much as the writers in the class kind of supported each other by doing readings, they're not actors. They're very shy, timid, quiet students. So to see these plays now brought to life by aspiring professional actors, and a director is going to be so valuable for them. So they're going to have a Q&A, they'll have a discussion about their intentions, the actors and the director will give some feedback on how to improve the pieces. It's going to be very interactive.
Yeah, we are really looking forward to it.
It's fun. Yeah. And again, really brave writing. I think, David, the last kind of thing that I want to say about the work that I do with all of the young people in this room and the ones that are working from all of our editorial teams is a trust and a bravery in them that is so admirable. I think, well, from my perspective as a middle-aged woman.
Right. No, students are inspiring. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Make you feel humble.
Exactly.
When they go for it. And so this publication will be released on Wednesday at the Undergraduate Research Symposium.
Indeed.
Which I think people could find online if you go to sage.edu, Undergraduate Research Symposium. I'll be there. I think it's around 11:30, 12.
It starts at 11. The library will be giving out some research awards from 11 to 11:15, and then our team will take it away for the last 45 minutes of the hour with showing the magazine, doing the pre-recorded videos and audios, spoken word of all their pieces. So it would be, I mean, we will then give the digital copy to everyone at the end. And if anyone is interested, they need to give me their information to send them a copy.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Angie. Thank you for being with us tonight. Stay on. We may have other questions or things to talk about.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. We are really honored. And I want to say to all my students, Cassie, Amir, Amina, and Edith, I appreciate you and I'm so pleased and grateful that you were able to join us today.
Yes, thank you all so much. This has been value added tonight.
Angie, will the publication be available on the Albany Russell Sage campus?
So I just need to talk to someone about how I can get some copies over there where they should go. I'm very new to Sage. Could you email me? Could somebody?
I'm happy to have them at the Opelka Gallery.
Great.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
I'll email you, Judy. Is that
All
okay?
Right. That's
Judy.
fine. Yeah. Hi, David. How are you?
If two Judys on, and they're both spelled the same way. And when
That's
you're
Judy with an IE.
Hi, Judy with an IE. That's very unusual. I found a soulmate.
well, when you're on Zoom, you don't know what's a mistake, what some technology is not working. I'm thrilled to see you. You know, the last time we did this, we had two Remys at the same time.
I know.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
That was the one day you missed. I told you about it. It's fine. We got her up.
That was more unlikely, but
That was crazy. Yeah.
it's a nice segue to this guy. Good evening. I have a nice bio here I'd like to read of Jean-Remy, and then we have some questions for you and questions from the audience. Jean-Remy Monnay is the founder and artistic director of Black Theater Troupe in upstate New York, and it's a theatrical outlet for people of color. Jean-Remy was born in Haiti, and as a little boy was very active in theater, doing Shakespeare and reading poetry on stage in his native tongue, which is French. And at the age of 18, he moved to New York, where he found the English language barrier difficult as a stage performer, but joined a Haitian acting troupe and performed in French and Creole, traveling to Montreal and other French-speaking communities. In 1997, he decided to move from Brooklyn to the Capital region and took a break from theater for about 2 years, but soon decided not to let language or anything else get in his way of becoming an English-speaking stage actor, and enrolled in Schenectady County Community College to study performing arts in English. He auditioned for the Hubbard Hall Theater Company in Cambridge, New York, where he met Kevin McGuire, and Kevin offered him a part in his first major production in theater in St. Joan. I was in St. Joan at one point. So from February of 2000 to the present time, Jean-Remy has appeared in over 100 plays, films, commercials, and a documentary for the History Channel. He's directed Fences, The Exonerated, Slow Dance on Killing Ground, Intimate Apparel, Wedding Band, A Lesson Before Dying, Camp Logan, Harriet Tubman Visits a Therapist, Medal of Honor, Eclipsed, and others. And was recently, we'll have to talk about this, honored by Capital Repertory Theatre as one of 4 talented individuals into the 2021 class of Associate Artists, along with Gordon Greenberg, Barbara Howard, and Stephanie Clapper. Associate Artists serve 3-year terms where they act as ambassadors for the rep, and as part of the program will participate in at least 1 production per season. Associates are also part of the rep's artistic team, and associates bring their knowledge of playwrights, scripts, directors, and designers to their projects. Whew! That bio doesn't even cover the work we're going to do with Park Playhouse this summer, Remy. It doesn't even cover what you're doing with Park Playhouse this summer.
No, it doesn't cover another. I mean, that's probably if Carol has everything there, I think it's probably missing another 4 pages there to read. Because, so yeah. No, thank you, Carol, for writing that.
You know, my favorite memory of you is when you were doing a piece in the Little Theater about Martha Washington.
Yes, the most spectacularly.
I can't remember the title of the play.
The most spectacularly lamentable trial of Miss Martha Washington.
Well, that's why I can't remember the title. It's a long title. But I think I just walked into the theater to see how you were doing and if you needed anything. And, you know, this is a real measure of Jean-Remy. He introduced me to every single person on his team and explained why they were there and what they did and what their function was and what my function was. And it must be something about you. You always seem to create a very open and welcoming space wherever you are. Where does that come from?
I would say it's from my background, you know, family, growing up in Haiti, and you know, I grew up in a small town where everybody's families, you know, and everybody's your uncle and your auntie, even if you don't know them. You know, see them in the street, hi uncle, and there's the big neighborhood. There's 5 people, 6 people live close by, and neighbors, like every of this family cook food and they share food with other, you know, the neighbors. So each family end up with 6 plates of food from different families, and yeah. So I grew up like that, you know, as family, and I get to, you know, at this age, and I was always into theater as a kid. So I use that, even to jump ahead of time, I use that if I'm in a production. So I try to make it the same thing, and for people to be family, for people to know each other, for people to love each other, for people to respect each other. So, like, for example, when I cast a show, if I'm doing a play, you know, I cast my show, and you can tell during rehearsal, at the end of the show, that everybody just love each other. Nobody want to go home, because I always make sure I cast the show. The first thing I do is not to have, the first rehearsal, the table read. The first thing I do, I invite all the actors and crew. Let's have a party. I'll cook for you. Let's get to know each other. Let's be friends. Let's be family. Okay? That way, once you get to know each other so well, you are friends. When you actually doing the first reading, you don't feel like strangers. It's already looks and sound like it's a performance. Okay? And because everybody already know each other. So, and like you say, when you came in and then, you know, you run the theater, you're a professor there at Sage College, you show up, you know, I want you to be comfortable with everybody too. you know, and that way people knows who you are, and people respect you, and you respect us, and you know what's going on. And it's also my own personality too, because my brother, you know, has totally different personality. So I do a lot of things where people are saying, you know, is it all Haitian like that? I said, no, not all Haitian not like that, because you know, we have our own different personality, just like everybody else. But mostly the way I was raised, you know, I take that with me, with my own personality, and that's what makes me me. And bring people together. You know, I mean, I don't care if you're black and white, and Puerto Rican, and you know, I like to bring people together. You know, I respect people, and let's work it out. We're different cultures. I love culture. I love learning about different cultures. You know, if I see somebody, as soon as I hear a little accent or something, you know, I don't normally see here, you know, I need to find out, okay, and share that. And that way, you know, if everybody learn about other people's culture, you know, the world will be a much, you know, better place. You know, you won't judge people because they look different than you are.
Mhm.
Okay, because you know everybody see, you know, little Mexican person, you know, they all, you know, and because you hear what the politicians are saying about them, you quickly judge them, you know, instead of finding out and trying to find out about, you know, Mexico. I mean, I wrote a piece for the Times Union about, about culture, learning about, you know, each other's culture, so you can respect each other. And yeah, so that's me. That's how I do things. That's how I bring people together. That's what makes me happy. And like Angie, you know, asked me, you know, said earlier, and it helped, you know, keep you young too. You know, keep you give you all that.
Well, like I was interested, you know, Angie moving from publishing into education. What was the moment that made you move from, you were doing some acting, you're doing some directing. What made you move into beginning a theater troupe?
So when I moved from New York City. I live in New York City in 1980. Actually, next month, May 18th, I'll be here in this country for 40 years.
Wow.
I came here in May 18, 1982. I live in New York from Haiti. And 40 years. Okay. Yeah, I see you coming. 40 years.
So you came over here as a 2 or 3-year-old?
3. Yeah.
3, okay.
So I moved up here because I wasn't doing much theater in New York City, because for many reasons, like my bio said, you know, in 82, I was in a Haitian troupe because I couldn't perform in English. You know, I mean, my whole life just stopped. This is crazy. You know, so I took a break and from doing theater, and I moved up here, and then I decided, you know, I need to do something about this. I live in this country. I have to, do whatever it takes. I have to, you know, perform, not just for the Haitian community or the French-speaking or Creole community. I'm in this country. I need to perform for everybody in English. I don't care. That's what I need. This is the United States. I'm not in Haiti anymore. So I decided to go back to Schenectady to performing arts, and that's where I met Chris Foster, and who was my Chris and Foster and God, I forgot her name. Who was in charge of the theater department in
Sandy.
Huh?
Sandy.
Chris
Yep.
Foster and Sandy. Sandy was my first professor in English in the singing theater. So that's where I met them. And then not long after that, I got cast at Hubbard Hall, and like you said, and I stayed with them with Kevin McGuire for 4 productions. and then I started going out in auditions. But in 2009, 2010, and a friend of mine decided, because there was probably like 4 black actors in the area. So I was lucky, I was getting a lot of parts because, you know, and there wasn't enough of us, so I was getting all the parts. So that was good for me. But after a while, I realized that we have to do something about that. So a friend of mine decided to let's start a theater company to bring more people of us on the stage, on a local stage, which we did. We called it the Soul Rebel Performance Troupe. And then, but that didn't last. In 2010, it was dissolved, but I decided to start it again because it was too important to let it go. So I started it back in 2010, and then I was still working for the state, you know, full time, and from '88, and I just retired in 2018 for the state. Then I started back as Soul Rebel. I still kept the name, and then still doing theater, you know, part time. And in 2012, we did our first big production with Camp Logan. And but the reason I started the theater in a company. I speak, like I said earlier, it's because, you know, we had to do something about that. We had to make the stage more diverse, you know, and more colorful. So that's one of the reasons why we started it. And when I retired in 2018, decided we have, you know, to go full time and get bigger, you know, and we did. I retired and we started, and of course 2020, you know, stopped everything, and then but I never stopped working. You know, we never stopped working. We still do, you know, with the movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, and George Floyd. That, you know, from March to April and May, you know, I was home doing nothing. Nobody was doing anything. But with the George Floyd movement, really, I said I had to do something, and I didn't want to do it. You know, I like to raise my voice and to fight for, you know, what you believe in, equality and justice, you know, and all this stuff. So the George Floyd movement really did it for me. That's when I decided I need to raise my voice, but I need more people. You know, just mine is not going to be enough. That's when I reach out to, you know, 6 other local theater companies, you know, put our head together, our voices together, and we created, I produced 846. And that was one of the most important project, you know, and we did it, and we raised money, you know, for the African American Community Arts Center, and then half of it to pay the actors. So, yeah, it was very important. And then now that there's so much good, I'm trying to remember everything we're doing. I know you're going to ask more questions on that.
That was a very powerful evening.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
Some really wonderful writing came out of that as well.
Yeah, so I reach out to all the theaters, tell them, you know, they can submit their own pieces, and then put it together and work with them, and yeah, and then hope to continue. Hope now I just can't wait to get back on the stage, and on the stage now. You know, I hate Zoom. You know, I hate back in that stage.
We're
I
all tired
Zoom.
of Zoom.
This is great for Zoom right now. It's not a performance, you know, but theater-wise, performing, I can't do it. Okay.
Well, do you prefer acting or directing, or do you have a preference?
You know, it's becoming very important to me, not because I'm directing, but because what I'm doing now, it's also a lot of teaching, which is important to me because we need somebody to teach, you know, our youth in any age, you know, because nobody's doing it for us, and so somebody got to do it, and I wanted to make it a point to work with them, and I go around and talk to, you know, people of color, all ages, and I approach them, you know, professionally, respectfully, and I work with them, and I'll hold your hand, and if you're interested, you want to do theater, join me. I'll hold your hand. So since I've been doing it, I kind of gave up on. I kind of stopped focusing on myself as much as I love being on stage, but it was more important to me because somebody gave me a chance when I couldn't do theater because of language. Now I've done enough now to take that to help others.
Mhm.
So I've been working with all ages, men, all ages, and work with them. But because it's so important, because I see, there's a young Black man, and many of them now, when they go to audition somewhere, they got a part and they get cast somewhere. I would be the first person they call when they get cast or when they get a first paycheck because because of what I've done for them. That's become very important to me to see that, to have that. So when I'm directing, I see it more as teaching and directing. So and as I think it's I don't know. I think directing is becoming more important to me than acting right now, mainly because it's not about myself. It's about helping other people. And that's important to me. So
I feel the same way about directing. It's bringing people together, and
yeah.
somehow you're giving all the artists an opportunity to
Right. Yep.
do their best work. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Do you have anything upcoming for Black Theater Troupe?
Right now, there's a lot coming up, including certain things I can't say right now. Some big news that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I can't say anything about it right now. But as production-wise, we tried to do something for the summer and do an outdoor production, for the summer, and hopefully in August. And I have Judy with an IE at the end. Judy's helping me. She's going to be producing that show for me, which is a big thing that the Black Theater Troupe is doing right now, because I was doing everything for years. Now I'm putting together a group of producers and to help me. So Judy is going to work with Patrick White directing the show for me and this summer. And Judy's going to produce it for me. So that's the first thing the Black Theater Troupe is doing. It would be the first play of our season. But for the rest of it, and you all will know in a couple of weeks what's going on. It's huge for us and huge for the community. So I can't say anything about it right now because, because it's not official yet. So it's official, but it's not, we haven't said anything yet. So
we have in the chat, it says, tell us, you're killing us. Can you give us a clue about one little thing? You've put together a great combination of Patrick and Judy. That's wonderful.
Oh no, that's the play. Oh yes, that's the first play for the season, and then it will be part of our season, and for the Black Theater Troupe. And then for me personally, I'll be directing and Misbehavin for the Playhouse, for the Park Playhouse this summer. So
and
this is that rehearsal start in June, and I think they open July 6th at the Park. So, and I'm very excited about that. It's my first musical. I love the play, and I'm really looking forward to work on that. It's going to be intense. It's rehearsal for 3 weeks, 5-6 days a week, 5 hours a day, professional theater. So that's the way it is. So I'm going to feel like I'm back to work again since I retired back in 2018.
Yeah, so much for retirement. So if people want to support Black Theater Troupe, how do they do that? How do they contact you?
I had a call from Owen, an email, to tell me about it, and they were interested to in me to direct the show. Mm-hmm. So I called him the next day. I never liked musical. I haven't done musical with the Black Theater Troupe or anywhere. I haven't directed a musical. I'm not a musical person, and I always try to stay away from it. Then I got a call to direct a show. Okay, and I called Owen, and the next day I said, Owen, I'm honored that you asked me to direct the show, but I don't do musical. I told him just that I don't do musical. I don't, I never care for musical, but because of what I do, I have to, I know Carmen is, hating me right now because I'm talking about not liking musical, right, Carmen? So, but because of what I love Carmen musical, but because of what I do, I have to start appreciate, it's all art. And I've been trying to appreciate it more and more over the years, especially since I met Carmen. And it's becoming really important to me because it's not about me before, just like I was saying earlier, working, bringing people together. The art is art. So I started to appreciate it more. And then now, and I told David, but I'm not gonna say no to you. Let me read the script, okay? Because if there's 20 characters in it, I don't know if I can do it because, musical, usually when you hear musical, it's like 1 million people in it. So I don't know if I can handle that. So he sent me the script. I read it, and then I said, oh, it's only 5 people, five actors in there. I said, this is good. So I'm starting to change my mind. Maybe I can do this. And then I read the play, and I love it. I said, wow, okay, this is good. Plus, I'll be fully vaccinated. All the actors will be vaccinated. So I said, that's good. So I called him a couple of days after, and I accepted, and that I'm doing it. And yeah,
musicals are like directing on steroids, But if you have a good choreographer and a good music director,
when
you're set.
When we talk, I didn't know all the details when she said, we have a music director and a choreographer and at the Park Playhouse too, and it was hard to say no. That's a big opportunity for me, to do something like that. So it is an honor for them to ask me, to direct that. So I'm really excited about it and can't wait to start. I've been working on it. I have the script. I'm in my car. I sleep at night with Fats Waller music, listening to it every day. So really, I literally have a station in Pandora, Fats Waller station.
And we're excited because we're going to be able to go outside this summer and sit out and see your musical. And I think we're all looking forward to that. Do we have anyone with questions for Jean-Remy? Any questions? I think they all know you.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Patrick.
Hi, Jean-Remy.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask you, can you dance?
Oh, I'm Haitian, man. I dance everything.
There's no problem with the musical.
Yeah, except choreography part, I can dance my own style move. Although I used to be a ballroom dance instructor, for Arthur Murray.
Yes.
Some 20 years ago. And I'll dance anything, give me some salsa, some, Haitian and calypso, reggae. Hey, everybody, I'm on the floor, everybody, everybody step aside. Yeah. So,
I was teasing you.
Oh, but that was a great question. But thank you. Teasing is good. You only tease people you love, right?
Right.
I love you too, Patrick.
I didn't know about Arthur Murray. That's not in your bio.
Well, that's why I said there, 3 pages missing from that bio. So
right. I think Arthur Murray taught me dancing in a hurry. Is that a play?
Oh, before you got married, right?
Yeah. We have a question from George. Where did the name Soul Rebel come from?
Well, I can tell you, when we decided to start the theater company back in 2009, and then now we have to find a name. That's one of the first things you do. And then I went and thinking, and then I remember Soul Rebel. That's one of the Bob Marley's song title. Yeah. And then I listened to the song, and then the name, I wanted something exciting and different. so that's where the name comes from, you know, from the Bob Marley song, and not just because, you know, it's just Bob Marley and any reggae sing, because Bob Marley, that's one of my favorite reggae artists. So that's why I chose that.
Good. Other questions for Remy?
Remy, would it be all right if I got in touch with you about working with our students as well? I've already been having messages from the students coming through our chat asking about collaboration with you.
Oh God, yes, yes. I mean, especially now, we're going to have regular seasons of play from now on. Have 4 productions a year, and yeah. So definitely, we'll love that. Yeah.
Can I? So if David gives me your email, that's okay.
I will. Yeah. I will share emails.
Okay.
Yes. No, definitely. We'd
so
love
Raymond, excellent. Good. Thank you.
We love that. And Judy and Carmen is one of our producers. So I forgot to mention Carmen too. So going to be working to help producers. And Diaka is one of the producers, but she's going to be more an assistant artistic director, you know, working with me and working with me to help me and as artistic director. So yeah, and I'm very excited about that. You know, we have a great group of producers, and Judy is already doing, you know, already working, give me a nice break, and producing a show for me. So I just have to give her some money. I say, here, you work with Patrick, you know, make it happen, you know, and then I can go to Sarasota, one of David's favorite place to go to in Florida, right, David?
Yes. Why don't we both go together and we'll go see some theater in Sarasota?
Some theater. And talking about the theater in Sarasota, there's a West
Coast Black
West Coast Black Theater Troupe, West Coast of Florida. And he's one Nate is the artistic director of that theater company. He started it over 20 years ago. We have similar stories. And having a Black theater in Sarasota, and he had some, you know, things going on because, you know, I mean, it's Sarasota. So I went to Florida to meet with him, and then he helped me a lot when I decided to change the name back in 2018 from Soul Rebel to the Black Theater Troupe of Upstate New York. And so, yeah, so I learned a lot from him and everything else. So, you know, encouraged me to continue to do it. And the name, George, you asked me about the Soul Rebel, and I changed it to the Black Theater Troupe because, you know, for years I've been wanting to change it, call it the Black Theater Troupe. I just didn't think that I held myself back for a while because, and I just didn't think that people up here was ready, you know, to have a theater, you know, called the Black Theater Troupe of Upstate New York. And, you know, when you're a Black man, you have to think about all these things because of racism and all this stuff. You know, even little thing like having something on my car window that says Black Theater Troupe, I'm afraid to do that because I may get up the next day and something happened to my car. So things like this, you have to really be careful still, which is very sad. But after I met with Nate in Florida, I decided, I said, this is it. And I named it the Black Theater Troupe of Upstate New York instead of the Capital Region. I have a reason for that because I didn't want to limit myself to just the Capital Region. If somebody in Buffalo sees the name, right away they say, oh, it's one of us, it's part of us, it's part of the whole Capital Region. So suddenly, Buffalo could be 6 hours if from Albany. If I had the theater company called the Black Theater Troupe of Albany, it's going to be a long 6 hours for Buffalo. But if I say the Black Theater Troupe of Upstate New York, they say, oh, no, it's in the area. They have no problem traveling to see it. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like, you know, we have something upstate New York from the Bronx to Buffalo to the border of Canada. So that's why I said upstate New York instead of the Capital Region. And it's working. People are calling me all over the state, you know, want to be part of it, want to come see it. So
Wonderful. Good. And in the chat, we have a lot of talk about Ain't Misbehavin'. We've got the Park Playhouse website up. And let's see, you're doing something with out at Sand Lake soon.
Yeah, I'm directing a show for Sand Lake in May. It's a reading, May 30th, the last Saturday of May. And then and I've been busy. I directed just last week a show for Cap Rep. It's a reading called Third Grade. It went well. And I'm also performing, they have 4 plays in April. I'm also performing in one of them. It's Alice in Wonderland. It's their own interpretation, of Alice in Wonderland. And I'm playing the Cheshire Cat.
Wonderful.
So it's all already recorded. It's coming up next week. So yeah, so that's we have a lot of stuff coming up. Yeah.
Great. Well, now that we can have people back on campus next year, I hope you'll be back in Meter Theater soon.
And
bringing theater to us.
And I have to say it with David and Sage, Sienna, and David, it was the first one I've worked with David. Always doors always open, give us a space to perform, always good, and work with David and we so appreciate it. And then you're one of the people in the area to always have their doors open for at least for me, and I always appreciate that. We perform at Sage, and we did 3 shows there, I think, something like that.
I think, yeah.
So, and I hope we keep doing it again. So
let's all do theater again. Well, thank you, everybody. I think we're close to the end of the evening tonight. We really enjoyed having everybody. Like I said, this was our 5th event. I think Carol and I need to sit down and plan 5 more.
And Carol's been quiet there. And it's, Carol, it's, we didn't say anything. This is important. Thank you for, Carol and David for, inviting me here for this. And
same. Thank you both.
And Carol, I met Carol, and what, 3 years, Carol? That's in
2017.
2017, and like I do with everybody else, I saw her, I approached her, and I said, okay, I'm doing a play, and she actually it was the Harriet Tubman Visitor Therapist. It was a 2-character play, and then it was Carol, and I cast Carol and Kim. That was Carol first. Well, she did something smaller in Sand Lake, but her first play was really with the Black Theater Troupe. So I don't care what she said. So
that's where I met Carol, was when we worked on that together.
So Carol, we did a play about an hour, length. Carol and Kim Wafer, just 2 characters. She was so wonderful. Okay, and she played a therapist. And since then she's been working with us as stage manager, and she's been wonderful helping with the Black Theater Troupe, and we so appreciate it. And now we're working again to get together, so she's going to help us with grant writing and everything else. So and yeah, Carol, so you're doing great what you're doing, and keep doing it, and it's always a pleasure working with you, Carol.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Remy. Your check's in the mail. And thank you to Sheila.
And I also want to quickly say, Sheila, I forgot. Sheila, there's so much to say here because I'm not seeing Sheila's picture on the screen, and I forgot. Sheila is the president of the president of the board of the Black Theater Troupe. And she's doing a great job and keeping us together, and I'm really proud, working with her. Working between Sheila here in this group tonight, between Sheila and Diaka and Judy and Carmen, and we have a small part here representing a Black theater troupe. And Angie, it was so great meeting you and hear all the great stuff you're doing.
Thank you. You as well, Remy. I will absolutely be in touch with you and Carol independently. I feel very honored to have been brought into this. I kind of feel like I've tapped into a community that might have been here for a while, and I'm like, wow.
It was so great meeting
There's
you.
no going back.
I know. Now you're in the family.
Yes.
No turning back.
Yeah. And I gotta
Absolutely.
say, Angie, I was so impressed with your students' work. I can't wait to get a digital copy
I
of
know,
their
me
work.
too.
It was amazing. It really was. And and I was
Thank you.
just, and I wanted to ask, but it was too late by the time they left, but I wanted to hear more of their experience collaborating with the American students and with all the social unrest and all the things we experience here. I was just curious about how it made them feel across the river. But I'm glad we know you now. And I feel like
and there will be
two,
many more opportunities to have these sorts of conversations.
yeah, and the fact that you said that you wanted, or they wanted to collaborate with the Black Theater Trio with Remy, which I throw myself in that. So I'm like, yay, then I'll get my opportunity to pick their, brain and so looking forward to the future. We're working and collaborating with you guys.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Angie.
Well, everybody, this is why I came up with Stage and Stanza as a bridge for communities to meet and greet and work together, collaborate, and spread the positivity and the love. So thanks to everyone for your, time, your efforts, your positivity, and 2 thumbs up. We'll keep going.
Very exciting.
Stay safe.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, guys.
Positive.
Yes, thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
See you guys
Thank
soon.
Thank you, Carol.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
everyone.
Yes.
Thanks,
Bye.
David.
Love you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Judy.
you,
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.